I have two more dead Douglas fir trees up here that I know of. One of them is up the hill. I'll need to get the tractor up this little bit steep road to get to. When the ground is dry, I can get it up there without a problem. But now the ground is wet, I don't know if I will be able to get it up there or if it'll be too slick. First, I want to see if I can get the tractor up there before I cut it down. I wasn't able to get up as far as I wanted to, but I have enough line on the winch I can still reach it from here. Trying to back up hills with a two-wheel drive tractor can be difficult sometimes when the ground is getting muddy. If I had a four-wheel drive tractor, I might have made it the rest of the way. Sometimes people tell me, you need a four-wheel drive tractor. Maybe I do. Sometimes it would be nice to have a four-wheel drive tractor. Most of the time I don't need it. For what I do, most cases the two-wheel drive tractor gets around just fine. But once in a while it would be nice to have four-wheel drive. If I was to go buy another tractor that's four-wheel drive, then I have to pay for the tractor. Then I have to cut down a lot more trees to pay for the tractor. I have to do a lot more work to pay for the tractor. It might save me some work in some cases, and it might help me be productive, more productive in some cases, but in order to pay for the tractor, I have to be more productive. It would also be nice to have an LT70 sawmill. That would be nice. That would help me be more productive. But then I have to cut down a lot more trees to pay for the LT70 sawmill. A self-loading log forwarding trailer. That would be a nice thing to have. I could be more productive with one of those, but then I have to be more productive to pay for it. A mini excavator, I could use one of those, but then I have to cut down a lot more trees to pay for that. If my goal was to be more productive, to produce more wood, maybe investing in these things would make sense. But my goal here is to manage my forests, not to cut down my forests so I can pay for a bunch of equipment. I'm being a little bit ridiculous there to try to illustrate a point. But back to the four-wheel drive tractor, if I have to replace this tractor, I will probably get a four-wheel drive tractor. And if there comes a time where I decide I really need a four-wheel drive tractor, I may do that. But for where I am now and for what I'm doing now, this tractor almost all the time works just beautifully. There are a few times where I wish it was four-wheel drive, but are those few times worth buying a new tractor or a used tractor and then having to deal with who knows what's wrong with it? Not at the moment. For what I'm doing now, this tractor works just beautifully. When we start getting into the winter and the roads start getting muddy, a four-wheel drive tractor would get me around more. But when the ground starts getting muddy, I don't want to be logging anyway. When it gets muddy, you start having more impact on the ground. You start digging ruts in your road, tearing up the roads, dragging logs through the mud. When the ground starts getting muddy, that's a good time of the year to be doing other things. I'm trying to remember where I heard this. Sometime recently, someone said something like, sometimes it's good to just use what you have. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use what I have to pull out that tree right after we cut it down. This is the Doug fir that's dead, finished, done, completed. Woodpecker holes all over. The top of it is dead. My concern is the top of it's not going to want to push through these two limbs of the pine that's sticking out in front of it. Don't look at that pine. We're still in denial that the pines are dying too. We didn't see those. I'll be a little surprised if this falls without getting hung up. If it gets hung up, we'll just have to string out the lines and pull it with the tractor. We're using the dump trailer today because the flatbed trailer is still full of logs from the last load, which I haven't dumped off at the mill because the mill is getting plugged up with logs. I got one more dying tree that's behind the trailer, the smaller fir next to the cedar. It has woodpecker holes and the needles are dying out of the top. It is really tall and leaning the wrong way. Since I'm close to it, I realize this is much bigger than I thought it was. As tall as it is, I'm going to get a lot of logs out of it. I don't have room in the trailer, and I can get to this spot later in the year when we have wet weather. So I'm going to leave it for now. I can come back and get that anytime. It's a light load. But there's another almost dead one along the way to the mill. So we'll take this load up toward the mill. Then I'll come down, get the tractor, and we'll get that one, and that'll make a load. I'll see you at that tree up the hill.